Good afternoon. I am Sarah Gomes with Job Service Kalispell. Thank you for joining us for the Blueprint for Business Success's first seminar in the 2021 Fall Series. Please take a moment to help us identify the businesses benefiting from today's seminar. Enter your name, title, business you represent, and your city in the chat box. Attendees are muted, but we encourage you to use the chat box for asking questions, which will be answered at the end of the presentation as time allows. As usual, we ask that your questions and comments are polite and respectful to all attendees and the presenter. There is a 2-minute anonymous survey that we would appreciate you completing. It will pop up when you click on Leave at the end of the seminar. Your feedback helps us improve the program and offer future topics and content that is useful to Montana businesses. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from Karoline Rose as she shares information on the topic, Is social media working for you? Karoline is owner and CEO of KRose Company. She is the leader and heart behind KRose. Though she prefers spending her time in sale barns or on the ranch, she's a pro at working from anywhere and will pour her heart into taking care of her clients. Today's seminar focuses on learning how to access and understand which social platforms are right for your business, creating content that will build community, and understanding how analytics and data can help you make better marketing decisions. Please welcome Karoline Rose.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I have a presentation today, but one thing I want to let you know is I love questions. So don't hesitate to ask any and all questions in the chat box. I always find that we get more information if you guys participate, and this conversation will be more beneficial for your business if you guys ask specific questions about your industry or your business. So the first thing is social media working for you. So quick little intro about my background. So I have an animal science degree from Montana State University, and I'm 100% self-taught in social media marketing. What I learned is that a lot of small businesses have social media, but it might actually not be working for them. And we're spending a lot of time and energy in social media marketing to only get mediocre results. So we're very passionate about agriculture and rural business. And we know that if towns and communities in Montana and in the United States don't have thriving businesses, the next generation doesn't come back to the family operation. So that is really, really important to us, that the next generation comes back. And so we want to support all types of rural businesses in, and even in Bozeman, right? That's still rural businesses, Kalispell. And we want to give you guys effective marketing tips and tricks that actually work. So we think that social media is hands down the best free tool. And we're going to go over who's on each platform and whether social media is working for you on that platform, and then a little bit about content and creating content that works for your business. So we have lots of different social media platforms, right? So we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, all of those. And every single one has a really great audience that you need to know about in order to decide if that platform's right for you. I'm curious, for those of you who are watching, what platforms are you guys using? So Facebook, of course, is probably the #1 platform. I recommend that all businesses are on Facebook. But if you guys want to just let me know in the chat what platforms you're using, the thing about social media is more platforms are going to be coming all the time, right? They are always going to be inventing new platforms, and people are going to be switching and coming back. And so it's important to follow trends, but it's also important that you have really solid marketing. So I always tell people, if your Facebook page is not converting customers for you, don't add a second social media platform. So you should not be posting the same thing you're posting on Facebook that you're posting on Instagram. And so if Facebook is not turning leads for you, don't add Instagram. Don't add Twitter. Make sure that each platform is becoming a sales engine for you before you add another platform. Okay, Facebook. I think every business has to have a Facebook page. I don't think you can get away from it. I think that you 100% need to have Facebook and working on Facebook. And the algorithm on Facebook is changing a little bit. So on Facebook, 83% of all women who use the internet and 75% of all men who use the internet are using Facebook. Facebook is one of the only places that we can reach 18 to 29-year-olds as well as seniors. So it is one of the only platforms that has the ability to reach both audiences. And almost 7 out of 10 Facebook users are checking the platform daily. You'll notice that stat changes throughout the other platforms. So when we think about Instagram, 1 billion people use Instagram every month. Instagram actually has one of the lower disposable incomes. So if you have a high price point item, Instagram might not be the platform for you. So Instagram has a lot lower disposable income than Facebook, for example. So 71% of Instagram users are under the age of 35, right? Which is completely different than what we saw here on Facebook. Very different, right? So we see seniors here on Facebook, people 50 to 64, I mean, even 18 to 29-year-olds, kind of the vast variety. And on Instagram, a good chunk of the audience is under 35. So it seems as if once people get a smartphone, a third or a fourth of them then get Instagram. I actually have noticed that Instagram popularity has been decreasing since TikTok came out. So the thing about Instagram for business, which is different than Facebook. So on Facebook, they would like you to post 7 times a day on your Facebook page. And they actually want conversation. They want it to be a community. It doesn't really matter if it has pictures or videos or if it's just words, but they want a community, a two-way street. And on Instagram, what they really, really like on Instagram is the behind the scenes connection and be transparent with your audience. So on Facebook, we'll watch the whole presidential debate, right? I always laugh. We will watch a video on Facebook for hours. And on Instagram, we're just scrolling. It's 2 different content consumption behaviors between Facebook and Instagram. And you should not share the same content between both platforms. We want completely different content calendars on both platforms. So Instagram is really great for images or videos. Instagram Reels have really taken off, which are short, funny videos. And so it is really important that you have stellar photos. iPhones take great pictures when you're looking at Instagram marketing. Let's talk about Pinterest. So Pinterest has the largest disposable income of any platform. Second is LinkedIn. Pinterest is by far the largest. So Pinterest is actually not a social media, but it gets looped into social medias. And Pinterest is a large search engine. And I don't know about you guys, but my mom used to rip things out of magazines and pin them up on a board in the house. She'd see a recipe or a kitchen layout or a yard design or anything like that she'd like. She'd rip it out and she'd pin it on the board. And that's what Pinterest is, just online. So people don't have to be following your account to see the content you're posting. The content on Pinterest lasts so much longer than any other content. On Facebook, we say our content lasts for 7 seconds unless it takes off. Instagram is about 10 seconds and Pinterest is 6 months. 6 months is how long your content is relevant on Pinterest, which is a long time. So people on Pinterest, they search and then they take action, right? People are not going to search dairy-free chocolate chip cookies unless they're going to make chocolate chip cookies. So these people are very action-oriented. They want a result, they want a solution, and they're going to do it. So only 250 million people use Pinterest. It used to be really heavy women, but it is starting to balance out a little bit more. Pinterest reaches 83% of US women aged 25 to 54. That is a lot of them. High income and educated households are twice as likely to use Pinterest compared to low income and less educated US households. So not only do you have the largest disposable income on any platform, you also have highly educated users on Pinterest. 98% of users go out and try the ideas or the things they find on Pinterest. So in Pinterest, when we think about Pinterest, it should be a magazine for your ideal customer. When you think of the Better Homes and Garden magazine, not only does it have garden and homes, but it probably has recipes and, birthday celebrations or holiday celebrations or organization tips. It has all of these things in a magazine that your ideal customer cares about. That's what you need to do on Pinterest. You're creating a digital magazine with different boards that are different segments. Some of it you create, some of it you borrow from other people, but you're cultivating this magazine for your ideal customer. It's, of course, free, just like every other one, but you want to have different boards. So if you're a small business owner, I think I saw on here someone's a property manager. So this is a great option. So as a property manager, you have two different kinds of audiences, right? You have homeowners and you also have tenants. So when you think about creating a magazine for people who might work with a property manager, you're going to have things such as, protecting assets left at the house. And so that might be organization, that might be storage ideas, that might be business ideas for owning rentals, tax ideas, how to, write off things, decoration ideas, how to make the house appealable, all of that. For tenants, you might have cleaning things to change your house without repainting, right? So ways to make your house look different. So you have all of these different options in your Pinterest that appeal to your ideal customer. If you have an email list, you can link it. You can link it on Pinterest. So if you have an opt-in, you can link your opt-in on Pinterest. And when people put in their email, they download the opt-in. If you sell with Shopify, you can also link them directly to Pinterest. To me, Pinterest is definitely a hidden gem that a lot of businesses overlook, because it does take a little bit of time to build up some momentum, but it can be incredible. I think we have about 1,200 followers on Pinterest. We have 17,000 or 18,000 on Facebook, to give you an idea. And our Pinterest reaches over 1 million people a month. And so it is an incredible asset to the business without being so immediate like Facebook. Okay, Twitter. I'm actually not a huge fan of Twitter. So Twitter is a social media site that connects people. It has a lot of big brands, right? Every now and then you kind of see a thread, a picture of Twitter. But I think one of the challenges about Twitter is the character limit. So as a millennial, if we have an opinion about something, we do not want to be put in a character limit. And so Twitter can be really challenging about that. But 75% of Twitter users say they use the network to get their news. So if you're a business owner and you're using Twitter, you need to almost be on it constantly, which can be really frustrating and really challenging when looking at building a business, right? Because you have to have fast information and fast results. So only 22% of adults in the US use Twitter. 44 are 18 to 20-year-olds. This is one of the platforms that is male heavy. There's only 2 platforms that have more men than women, this one and LinkedIn. 41% of US Twitter users reported income above 75,000, and 42% of Twitter users are on the platform every day, which makes that about 9 or 10% of all adults in the US are on Twitter. I think Twitter's got a negative connotation because we have allowed people, not allowed, that's not the right word, but it has become a trend to tweet big companies when you're not happy and have them respond on your Twitter. And to me, that gives Twitter kind of a negative connotation. Is we know that we can reach them with something we're unhappy with, and chances are they tweet us back. But it also does make the atmosphere a little bit more negative as opposed to some of the other platforms we see. So Twitter for your business, it's a place to be transparent, right? It's short, sweet, and you can tweet and you can reply and all of that. And 60% of people think brands can become more culturally relevant by being inclusive. So it is something you can share tweets you like. But again, it is a very, very, very fast platform. And if you're going to use it for your business, you need to make sure that you are staying up to speed. And again, it needs to be something different than you're posting on Facebook, something different than you're posting on LinkedIn, something different than all other social media platforms. It's a whole new content calendar. Okay, let's talk about YouTube. So this data actually, as of this week, is incorrect. We have now watched more hours on TikTok than we have on YouTube, but it is a video sharing platform. It's similar to a search engine, but with videos. Google owns YouTube. It is the second largest search engine behind Google, but on TikTok, we're watching more videos than we are on YouTube at the current moment. I think that will change. I think TikTok gets old, YouTube does not. And so I do think we'll see it switch back to YouTube. But at the current moment, we're seeing TikTok in first place. Who's using YouTube? Simply everyone. 90% of 18 to 44-year-olds who use the internet use YouTube. So 70% of millennials have used YouTube to learn something. We call that YouTube University. You can teach anything you want on YouTube. There's someone looking for it. There's a dad who has a YouTube channel. He makes his living on YouTube. And it's things I wish my dad taught me is the gist of his channel. So he is talking about toilet plumbing, changing oil, all of these household things and life things that he wished his dad taught him. And he is teaching other people who don't have a dad or whose dad hasn't taught them that, or all of these things. But it's incredible what you can learn on YouTube. We actually, at the KRose team, I always say, when someone asks a question, my first response is, have you YouTubed it? And you can learn so much information about YouTube. So again, it's a free channel, just like everyone else. You want to educate your subscribers. Descriptions with the videos help for searchability. You want to optimize on Google, of course, grow your list and send traffic to your website. So the goal of any social media platform, of course, is to send traffic to your website and to grow your email list, because we don't own any of these social media platforms. We don't own our YouTube followers or our Facebook followers or any of that. The only list of contacts that we actually own is our email list. So on every platform, your goal should always be to get people off the platform onto your website or onto your email list. So when we're building content, that should be one of the main goals, is get people off of there and onto your email list. So I'm a huge, huge believer in Facebook marketing. I want you guys in the comments, in the chat, tell me a little bit about Facebook. Do you think Facebook is working for you? Is Facebook getting leads for you? Just give me a little update on how you feel about Facebook. We know that Facebook is the third most visited website in the world, which is incredible. And 60% of potential buyers check to see if there's an active Facebook page before they visit the business. 60%, which is a lot of people, check to see if the page is active before they visit the business. And to be honest, I actually think that number probably is increased in the pandemic, because we've had that conversation in our household, and I'm sure you guys have too, about Are they open? Do they have new hours? Why aren't they working on DoorDash? All of these things that then we go on Facebook and we look and see if they have an active Facebook page and if the information is there. So the thing about an active Facebook page is most of the time they would like to see a post within the last 72 hours to determine if you have an active business. And 72 hours is pretty frequent. So like I said earlier, Facebook would like you to post 7 times a day. The Facebook algorithm would like you to post 7 times a day. And for most of you, you're probably thinking, no way, I'm not posting 7 times. That is way too much. It's only way too much if you post 7 sales posts, which we don't want to do. Facebook is not a selling media, it's a social media. So they really want you to be social and they really want you to build this community on your page. And so when we're thinking about building a community on Facebook, know that 80% of consumers have discovered retail products to buy on Facebook. So when we think about a Facebook business page, there is 2 different ways that you can have a page on Facebook. So you can have a business page or you can have a personal page. You absolutely need to have a business page, which is where they can like your page, not friend you. If they can friend your business page, you have the wrong type of page set up. The contact details need to be corrected and they need to be looked at often. So I don't know how often you guys are looking at your contact information on your Facebook page, but probably about once a month. Facebook has great SEO. So when someone searches your business, they will probably see your website first, and then they will see your Facebook page. That's because Facebook has done a lot of work to make it like that. A lot of work. The other thing is you need a cover photo, a great cover photo, and a great profile picture. So I'm curious. I want you guys to all just think about your cover photos right now on your Facebook page. If I were to take your cover photo and pull it off of Facebook and put it on a billboard alongside the highway without adding or anything, do you think you'd get business from it? So do you think you would get business from your cover photo if I just plucked it off of Facebook and put it on the side of the freeway? I'm curious. How many of you, some of you are probably having to go look, but how many of you think that you would get business? Okay, great. There's some yeses in the chat. No, but it's a good picture. Ours is our business logo. Okay. When you look at your cover photo, that is your billboard for your business. It should have a call to action. It should attract the right people, and it should tell them what to do next. It is the largest space when someone's looking at your business page. And you want to change it seasonally, right? You want to make sure that you are changing it on a regular basis and changing it seasonally. So make sure that your profile picture is either a photo of whoever's in charge of your business or your logo or both. Your cover photo has a call to action. It tells your audience what to do next or what they're going to find on the page. You want to make sure you have your about section, what services and products do you offer and why. A physical address, if possible. I cannot tell you how many times I really wanted to go to a business, especially a brick and mortar, and I couldn't find out where they were at. It needs to give your hours. You should not be available 24 hours a day, because if you say open all the time on your Facebook page and someone responds to you at midnight, you are expected to respond to them back. You should have dedicated hours on your Facebook page about when you will be available and when your business is running. You are not on 24/7. The only exception to this is a truck stop who is actually open 24 hours a day and having someone who can respond to those. You need to make sure you have your website on there, and then you need to have other contact information. What happens if your website goes down? Do you have a phone number? Do you have an email? Do you have a way they can contact you? Are you telling them how to contact you? Does it say, if you need to get a hold of us, please call or please email? Make sure you're communicating fairly with your audience on how you want them to communicate with you. So social media has changed, and the algorithm changes all the time, all the time. So they do not want it to be a selling media, though. It is a social media. And when I say social media, they want you to be social. And when we think about social, you want to be the most popular person at a cocktail party. You want to be funny. You want to be a great listener. You want to have good stories. You want to be an encourager. You want to be all of these things. If you do not have all of those things, it's important that you think about the way that you're marketing for your business. So let's set the stage a little bit here on Facebook. On Facebook, the only thing that matters is when someone comments on your post, when someone tags a friend on your post, or when someone shares it. Those are the only things that matter. Likes and page likes don't matter. And actually, having too many page likes can be detrimental for your business if you're not getting any engagement. So the only engagement that Facebook cares about is comments, tags, and shares. That's it. So when we think about that, we need to be posting content that is getting people to comment, tag, and share. And it's hard to get that, right? It's super hard to get people to comment, tag, and share. But good content will naturally lead to that. You're selling your credibility. You are not selling your product. You are becoming the expert, the tips and tricks, the best in the business on your Facebook page. Anytime you tell them to go to this link, message the page, meet us here, buy this product, like any type of action like that, that's a sales post. And out of 4 posts, only one of them can be a sales post. So you need to have 3 value posts for every 1 sales post. So I encourage you, when you're going to look at your content, if you're not seeing people tag, comment, and share, read one of your posts out loud. Does it sound awkward? And are you selling too much? So do this audit of your Facebook page and see what you can learn. So if we can't make sales and do a lot of selling posts on Facebook, how do we sell on Facebook? So you want to provide value. And the most common thing to provide value is to answer their questions and give them support, advice, and educate them. For example, how many of you have a frequently asked question page on your website? Raise your hand in the little chat. How many of you have a frequently asked question page on your website? Most businesses do, right? Some of you probably do, some probably don't. Some of you might have frequently asked questions that you email, all of that. But if one of your frequently asked questions, if you have a frequently asked question, right, whether you post it or not, that's content for your Facebook. So, for example, I worked with this business in Bozeman that is this beautiful business, and it is Salon Suites. And I was in getting my hair done, and not in that business, but in a different business. It's called Guild House. It's a beautiful location. And the lady who was doing my hair said, I'm going to Guild House after this, and I'm a little bit nervous. And I said, why are you nervous? And she said, because I've never been to Guild House, and I don't know where my stylist room is. Right there, there's like 400 options for content, right? And she said, what happens if I'm running late? How do I know if someone else is already in there? How do I contact them? How do I find them? All of that is social media content. A live video of you walking into the door, showing your office space. a post about whether your bathrooms are public or not, an option about how to order online, what's the best way to order online. All of that is content. All of that is content for your page. And so it's so important when you're thinking about content that you think about answering those questions. Just carry a little notebook with you. Anytime your audience asks a question, write it down and turn it into social media content. It's really easy to start at the basic level and get smarter than it is to outsmart your audience and have to get dumber. For example, I always use the school reference. I don't know how many of you have children, but my nephew entered kindergarten this year, which was a big milestone when he left the ranch, right? He had been there every single day. And so my sister-in-law took him to the school and she showed him the drinking fountain, the office, the bathrooms, the art room, the gym, his room where he hung up his backpack. She literally held his hand and walked him through the school. That's what you need to do on your Facebook page for your audience. You need to walk them through your business, answer any questions, and front load them with information. Don't expect your audience to know just because it's common sense to you. There's a brewery. I actually have a house in Kalispell and then a rental in Townsend. And there's a brewery in Townsend, Montana. And I've lived in Townsend for coming on 5 years, and I've never been. The reason I had never been is because I didn't know if they had food or not. And when I came into town late after work, I did not want to stop there if there wasn't food. But do you know how obvious it is for them in that business, whether they have food or not? They either have a kitchen or they don't. But I did not go into that business for years because I didn't know if they had food or not. How many people are overlooking your business because they don't know if you are offering food? Something as simple as that. They do not know. Creating content for social media is not something that is complex and overwhelming. You're answering the small little hurdles that are causing people to get knocked down in order to become a client. Those little teeny hurdles is what you need to create your social media content on. It's not the big things, right? It's the little people who are like right on the edge of becoming a client of yours, and they just don't know what to experience. And for most of us, they're not going to do it, especially in COVID, right? COVID has changed so much in our businesses. If they don't know what to expect, if they don't know if they should, what kind of shoes they should wear, if they don't know what time you close, or if 30 minutes before closing, you actually shut it all down. If they don't know those little things, that's the opportunity that you have. So hopefully you guys are thinking about some things that you can create content about. The other thing you have to remember is only 7 to 11% of your audience sees each post. So if you mentioned your hours one time on social media, that's probably not enough. On average, someone has to hear about your business 21 times before they become a paying customer. 21 times. That's an incredible amount. 21 times before they become a paying customer. So if you talked about it one time and no one bought, that's probably because you didn't talk about it enough. So you want to make sure that you're providing value. You can quote blogs, you can encourage people to sign up on your newsletter, you can do videos and photos. Anything that you can do to educate your followers is a great thing to post on social media. If blogs are phenomenal, but you don't always just want to send people off of your website for a blog. So a good way, or off of your Facebook, a good way to do it is like take a quote from the blog, post it, and then ask them a question about it and say, there's more to this article if you want to read more. And encourage them to go to your website if they want to read more, but they can still engage even if they don't. So sometimes written words just don't cut it. Video, especially of people's face, we love to see people's face. You want to keep it short and sweet, jam-packed, full of value. You don't need to sell anything. Just give value. Just show them your business. Just answer a question. Just screen record your website and show them how to find it. You can do it with your iPhone. And the other thing is, have fun. People buy because of you. They want to work with you. And so when you're thinking about marketing and social media, they want to know you. There's tons of other people who offer what you offer, but people are going to make that money exchange because they know, like, and trust you and your business. You also want to brand yourself as the expert. So in the Facebook world, people think I'm the Facebook expert, which means when a problem arises, they call me. And I have had some of the weirdest questions. I actually had a guy call me one day and say, my Facebook page is in Spanish. How do I get it switched back? To which I have no idea. But he said to me, well, you're the Facebook expert. Don't you know that? And I said, I don't know that, but I'll figure it out and help you. So you want to make sure that you're the expert in your industry. If you are, a recruiter for jobs, you want to be the best place for people looking for a new job ever. All things besides just what jobs are available. How to dress, how to show up, what does resumes look like, how often to follow up, how to negotiate an offer. All of those should be content that you share. You're the expert. You are the person they think about when they need your service. You want to share stories. You may be the expert, but you're not perfect, which is good. Perfect is unattainable. They want to hear humorous stories. They want to hear encouragement. They want to know that you're learning new things too. You want to share stories not just about you, but of your customers. How are they growing? What products or services is helping them? How are they changing the world? That's the kind of stories you should be sharing. Of course, if you have testimonials, share them. I always think it's humorous that 3 words, 4 to 5 words can make $100 decision. Again, if you're going to the movie theater and you have children and you ask your other mom friend or dad friend, you say, did your kids like that movie? And they said, my kids loved it. 4 words is probably $100 decision for you. My kids didn't like it. 5 words, that business lost $100. We love reviews and testimonials. We will not really eat at a place now that we don't look up, right? If a business doesn't have reviews or testimonials, we get a little nervous. And so something to think about is make sure that you're posting good reviews on a regular basis. Now, they don't have to be an essay. People, when we share reviews about our business, we want it to be this long, drawn-out situation. But in all reality, when we share reviews with our friends, we're like, yeah, that place is great, or have the tacos. Or, was a little busy. I wouldn't recommend taking the kids there. But as business owners, we want reviews that are these massive essays. And that's not how it happens in real life. You want to show how they loved it or what problems it solved and make your customer, the client, the hero. How did you make their life better? The other thing, if you can see eyeballs in your review, it will do 10 times better than if you can't. So if someone will post a picture, 10 times better than if you don't see their eyeballs. You want to connect with your followers on their level. Sometimes all your audience needs is to laugh. They need encouragement. They need support, but you have to know your audience. And so you want to make sure that you know what your audience needs. Viral content, I didn't talk about it earlier, but it's a great thing. If there's viral content that is similar to your audience base, do not hesitate to share it to your page. It will only give you leverage on your page to share other people's viral content. And then the hardest part of social media for most businesses, listening. That's 50% of the conversation. Are you asking them questions? Should we paint it this color or this color? I'm ordering new t-shirts. Do you like V-neck or scoop neck? What size inclusivity are you looking for? Do you like if we opened an hour earlier in the morning or stayed late? You want to allow them to give you feedback on your business. Remember, it's a two-way street. You have to listen as much as you talk on social media. Again, don't sell to them, just listen and see how you can help. You want to talk about it until they're sick of it. Oftentimes I hear people come to me after Black Friday and they're sad because their Black Friday deal did not go as well as they wanted. And that's because they simply did not talk about it enough, right? You have to talk about it until someone messages you to be quiet. When they message you to be quiet about it, you've talked about it enough. Until that happens, you have not talked about it enough. Now, you cannot say the same words over and over. Like, we're doing websites, book a website now, and you post that 100 times. Of course, they're going to get sick of that, right? You want to tweak the content in different ways so that you're getting across the same message. They're hearing about it multiple times, but they don't get sick of reading the exact same words. Again, you're a doctorate level, they're kindergarten. Simple posts, explanation, be in their shoes, what will benefit them. Okay, so now we talk about the algorithm. So here is my favorite algorithm game, because who doesn't like to talk politics when talking social media? So when I tell you how this works in the algorithm world, your life on Facebook is forever going to be changed. And I apologize in advance. It will not nearly be as fun on Facebook. But you have 4 types of people on Facebook. People who love Trump and only engage with hate Hillary things, which is now hate Biden. Love Trump and only engage in love Trump things. Love Hillary and only engage in hate Trump things. And love Hillary and only engage in love Hillary things. The thing about the Facebook algorithm, they do not care whether your audience loves or hates the content they're seeing. The only thing they care about is that they get a rise, they get action, your content stops people in their tracks. They either have to comment, tag a friend, or share it. That's all they care about. The more you engage with hate Hillary things, the more you see hate Hillary things. The more you engage with love Trump things, the more you see love Trump things, and vice versa. If your audience is not taking time out of their day to engage with the content, to comment, tag, and share, you will not be seen in their newsfeed. 100%. You cannot pay to be seen in their newsfeed. You have to get people to stop in their tracks and engage with your content. If your content is not good enough to do that, then we need to change the content that you're producing. It has to stop people in their tracks. That's why reach doesn't matter, is because what Facebook does is it takes your post and it shows it to a small group of followers. If they comment, tag, and share, it's going to show it to more. If they don't, it's going to fall flat on its face. If you're not producing content that is powerful and getting people to stop in their tracks, then they are not going to, your content's not going to be seen by new people. You have to get comments, tags, and shares. That's the way the whole algorithm works, is by getting comments, tags, and shares. So how you do that is you combine it all together. You have engaging, and you have selling, and all into one. So an engaging post would be, I have 3 Audible credits I need to use. What books do you suggest I use them on? That's something that would probably get some posts, right? Someone just read a book they loved or they hated, and they want to tell you about it. A selling post would be, click here to see a list of my top 10 books you have to read this year. You guys see the difference between one's engaging and one's selling. Combined is I have 3 Audible credits I need to use. What books do you suggest? And then you could either leave that second part out and put it in the comments, or you could say, I've already read a lot of books this year. Click here if you also need my suggestion on top 10 must-read books. So you have to make sure that you have this great combination. It's like a recipe, but they have to be moved to engage. If they're not, you have to create different types of content that helps people move to engage. The other thing is a lot of businesses do this, right? It's like, okay, no posting. Now it's our busy season. We got to post a lot and now nothing. And you don't want to do that. You also don't want to post 3 times a day and then nothing, and then 3 times a day and then nothing, and go like this, because your audience is going to ride that wave and they're going to get discouraged. And Facebook knows if you're only posting during your busy season or your sales season, they know that you're using your page to sell. And that's not what they want. So they're not going to show you. They're not going to show your audience your post because you are not building a community. You are selling, and that is what they don't want. They want it to be social media, all platforms, social media, not selling media. So you should have active posting. As you can see, I hand drew this. Active posting, which is a minimum of 3 times a week during peak sale season, 7 times a day, back down to active posting. Year round, you should post 3 times a week at the bare minimum, 3 times a week, bare minimum. Okay, that was a lot of information, and I am done a few minutes early. I got talking a little fast. So we have plenty of time for questions. What kind of questions do you guys have that I can answer?
Thank you so much, Karoline. Oh, go ahead.
You're welcome. Do you want me to read these?
Go right ahead. I was going to read them to you, but it seems like you are very comfortable and we're enjoying your presentation. So go right for it.
Great. Can you explain anything about the new business suite that just started for our business page? Jen, are you referring to business.facebook.com? The new business suite that just started for. Okay, Jen, you might have to give me a little bit more information. Yeah, Belinda, great question. So is your business page focused at the companies looking for, are you a recruiter, Belinda? That's a better way to ask that question. Okay, so are these positions inside your company? Okay, great. The least amount of information as possible is better. You do not want to have a long drawn out. Oftentimes when we post positions that will get tons of feedback and tons of applications, we just say, we have a new position listed. If you know of anyone who is a great website designer, who loves agriculture, etc., share this post with them. And then people will start to comment and say, how do I read the full post? And that's when we send them to our website with a link. So you want less information, the better, and give them a piece of the cake and allow them to ask for more when they're ready. Yes, I will repeat the question. Her question was, do you have suggestions on posting open positions for your business? And she's not a recruiter, and she's posting posts for her current company.
So I'm seeing one here, Karoline, about the 7 posts per day. Now, does that seems like it's going to be a lot for an employee. So they're wondering if they should allow all employees to have access to posting or if they should have one designated person.
That's a great question. You should have one designated person because it's a puzzle, right? And you want to make sure that the pieces are all fitting in together. Also, something we didn't talk about in this presentation, but that I talk about a lot, is you only want to have one admin on your Facebook page for security, on any type of social media for security. And especially on Facebook, the rest of them should be editors, because if everyone's an admin and one person gets hacked, they can delete the rest of the admins. If you're the sole admin and everyone else is editors and an editor gets hacked, they can never delete the admin.
Oh, word to the wise then. That's
Yes.
good to know.
It happen all the time where someone will hire someone to help them with Facebook, and then they will that person will get hacked, and then they'll lose their whole business page because they added them as an admin.
So be very cautious with your admin. Okay. So then back to the 7 posts per day. Then in the other side, how often should you be posting on social media during a slow season?
A minimum of 3 times a week.
Okay, can you give us maybe any examples of what kind of content creation ideas we should be thinking of?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first is to answer very basic questions in your business. So you want to just over communicate. You want to front load your audience. A few great posts that I've been seeing lately, especially in Montana, where we have high land, and real estate is changing hands a lot. So I saw a post the other day that was great on Facebook. It was like 3 things you might not expect when you're buying your first home. And it talked about paying for the inspection before you close. It talked about earnest money and where you need to get that earnest money from. And it talked about that you can go out and meet with multiple loan agents after the first one has kind of pulled your credit without it affecting your credit. And so it just was this really easy educational post that you know that they've been asked those questions, and they just shared the content, the answers like that. And people were tagging their significant other or their friend who is buying a house and was really sharing that really valuable information. You can always share testimonials, people who are happy with your business. The other thing is make sure you're talking about your products, but in a non-selling way. So oftentimes we go to a business and we don't even know what they 100% offer. I get that now, right? I've been in the marketing world for 6 years, and I had a lady email me just the other day and said, do you guys do logo design? I wasn't really sure. And I thought everyone knew. And so make sure that you're talking about your products and services in a non-selling way, just describing the way that you can serve people, and just pick a product. Did you know we offer homemade X, Y, and Z? And this is why we do that, and this is how it's made, or whatever. But just really educate your followers. The other thing is share memes, share funny stories, anything like that. Anything that gets your audience to stop in their track and engage with your content is what you'd like.
Great, thank you. So this might be pushing it for one last question here on our time, but we've got to back way up to the beginning of your presentation where you mentioned Pinterest. Who knew that that was such a resource? It never would have even occurred to me. I go there sure for a recipe, but I'd never thought about bringing the business to Pinterest. And then do you then say, hey, look at us on Facebook? Or, I mean, I understood what you said about making a magazine on Pinterest, but how do you drive them to your other social media where they can then comment, tag, and share?
Yeah, so with every social media, you have the main goals of sending people to your website and then getting them on your email list, right? Those are the 2 things that you can control, is website traffic and email list. And so anytime, all of these social media should be sending people to your website and your email list. And then what you need to think about is, why should they follow me on Facebook compared to Pinterest or Instagram or YouTube? What am I sharing on Facebook that they are going to miss out on that I need to tell them about? And so when you think about it that way, you're doing a service for your Pinterest followers. If you say on Facebook, I am answering all of these questions, or I'm deep diving on this topic, you don't want to miss out. So when you think about your customers first, that's something to consider is like, okay, they already follow you on one platform. You want them to your website and your email list, but then we want them to follow our other platforms because each platform has its own content calendar. And we really want to encourage them that they're going to miss something, some of this value we're sharing if they don't follow those platforms.
Okay, so can you attach Facebook or your website to Pinterest?
Yes, you can attach any link.
Great. Well, I feel like we could just ask you so many more questions, Karoline. We are unfortunately out of time for questions today. So we just all want to say thank you so much. There's going to be a few announcements that we'll wrap up with, and then we're going to leave up Karoline's contact information in case you have any further questions, or if you'd like to request a copy of her slide presentation today. Be sure to attend next month's Blueprint seminar titled Online Reputation Management, the Golden Ticket. And in continuing our theme on social media, November's seminar will be on video marketing for small businesses. Before you go, please help us identify the businesses benefiting from today's seminar. Enter your name, title, business you represent, and your city in the chat box. Thank you in advance for completing the survey when you leave today. Your feedback does help us improve this program and provide meaningful topics and content. Thank you for attending.